Jamie would never go down past the stairs of the pool. He would completely panic, begging you to take him back into the shallow part of the pool.
Did you know that there are people who believe they have been reincarnated? People who think they had a past life?
On seeing the card, Billy pointed at the image and exclaimed, "Look, it's me as a princess."
Whether these people are telling the truth or not, that's up to you to decide.
It didn't come together until she actually said, "I think I was on that train."
Let's dive into their stories. The boy who died in the Titanic. This young boy was always afraid of the deep water, but nobody could have predicted why he was so scared of the waters. Ever since young Jamie saw the movie Titanic, he started sharing weird details with his mother about the massive ship. He saw the movie once and then drew 50 paintings about the ship's design. There were multiple paintings of the ship cut in half, with rooms and floors representing the ship's design. The memories kept rushing back to the 5-year-old boy. He kept repeating how there were problems with the design of the ship. His family couldn't believe it. 2 years passed by, and they started studying the Titanic. They eventually matched young Jamie with the design engineer of the massive ship, Thomas Andrews, who had died on the ship. What they found next was nothing short of surprising. Jamie was repeating the same issues with the Titanic that Andrews had fought for back in his life. How could a 5-year-old boy know anything like this? But it became worse after a couple of nights. The family took the boy to a Titanic exhibit. When they came back, the boy experienced something that his mother called the death dream. He was fast asleep when a loud rhythmic bang-bang started coming from the boy's room. The boy was on all fours shaking. He then screamed in a voice that his mother describes as that of a man. Jamie's mother was left wailing with tears. But that was it. A few weeks later, the obsession had died, and Jamie started to accept that he died in the Titanic. What do you think about this story? The boy who was Princess Diana. David Campbell is an Australian singer and an actor, but he recently got famous because of his young boy. His son was only 2 years old when he started calling himself Princess Diana. He would look at a picture of the princess and say, "Oh, look, it's me." The parents did not pay much attention, but they were forced to ponder a few years later. The kid was 3 years old when he started talking about 2 boys. His father interrogated him about the boys, to which he replied that the boys were his sons. Diana also had 2 sons, William and Harry. But the most shocking thing was when the boy referred to himself as Princess Diana. He then said how he wasn't a princess when the sound of the sirens echoed in the air.
Diana, Princess of Wales, has in fact been killed in that car accident.
After 2019, when the news was made public, the boy has yet to speak more about the reincarnation. The boy who was in 9/11. When Cade was born, he was a surprise because his mother thought she could not have children. But that was not the only surprise waiting for her. He was a different child and could hold conversations with adults at the age of 1.5 years. As he grew older, he started fearing tall buildings. The boy claimed that he does not have good memories of buildings or planes and does not want to be anywhere near them. The parents merely thought that it was the imagination of the kid running wild. But then something shocking happened. The boy straight up said to his mother that he was in his office when the plane crashed and caused an explosion. He fell down the building and was still alive at this point. But then the rubble hit him, and that's all he remembers. The parents started a whole investigation about all the people who had died in the attack. There was a mother who had posted about her son, and it was the exact same way that Cade had told his parents. Cade's mother did not have the courage to contact the mother she found online, but she had made the connection. It was indeed some man living inside her son, and the family had accepted it. What do you think? The boy who thinks he is his uncle.
He looked up at me and said, "Nana, I need Froggy."
A young boy named Noah made a few comments that brought his mother back to her childhood. They were out driving one day when Noah said something that made his mother force the car to a stop. He swore at her and called her a nickname that only her brother used to call her before he passed away. He was gone 5 years before Noah was born, so there was no way that he could have known about his mother's childhood nickname. When the boy was 4 years old, the family was out for a dinner. The boy started saying how he was on Earth again and described how he had passed away before in a car crash, same as his uncle. He gave the exact same details that sent his mother into a state of utter shock. The boy's grandmother and his uncle's mother were not convinced, but that was until something happened at a night stay. Noah's grandmother was putting him to sleep when the boy started asking for Froggy. The grandmother froze in her steps. She asked him the color of Froggy, and Noah described the same Froggy that his uncle used to sleep with. His grandmother had kept a few things of her son back in the closet. When she brought Froggy, the boy had a wide smile and hugged it close until he fell asleep. The grandmother was convinced it was her son's soul inside her grandchild. Do you believe it is true? The boy who was in World War II. A boy named James Leininger has the most chilling story of reincarnation. He was a toddler when he started having weird night terrors. His parents would console him, thinking it was a normal nightmare, but they had no clue what was about to happen. Soon, the night terrors started happening when he was awake. He would say, "Airplane crash, little man can't get out." When his mother asked, "Who's the little man?" he would simply say, "Me." He used to say that the Japanese had shot his plane, which is why he crashed. But the most shocking detail he shared was the name of the boat where his plane took off, Natoma. His parents started searching through every detail of that boat and found an interesting name. It was James Houston Jr., and he was the only one who had passed away in that crash. The surprising thing was that Leininger would also sign his paintings James 3. But this was not all. One day, Leininger was playing with G.I. Joe when he named the 3 figures Leon, Walter, and Billy. The parents thought it was pretty strange. When they asked him about the names, he said that he met them in heaven. The funny thing was that these were the name of the people who had passed away a little while before James Houston had crashed. They were all in the same squadron. But here is where it gets extremely uncanny. Houston's sister was the only person alive at the time. Leininger wanted to meet her and ask her about the painting her mother had drawn for Houston and her. She was left shocked. That painting had been sitting at her home for 50 years, and Leininger said that his past mother was the one who drew that painting. Pretty strange, right? What do you think about it? The boy who believes he has another mother. A young boy, Harley, would often make his mother question whether the boy had been a different person before his birth. He would often have a crying episode and call out to his mother. When his actual mother would go and comfort him, the boy would still ask for his mother. The whole thing was pretty strange. Then, at Halloween, the parents took the boy to the other side of the town. While they were driving, he noticed a road and claimed how it was paved now. In reality, the road was paved for over 30 years at that time. When they got to the other side of town, the boy told his parents how he used to live here. The parents never lived in that part of town before. The mother never was able to make the connection, but she was not interested. The boy was a teenager, about 15 to 17 years old, when he passed away in a car accident. The investigators could not find this person either. Do you think it was the boy's imagination? The girl who talked to her past mother. This shocking story of reincarnation will haunt you. A young girl named Willa was out with her mother at a park when she started staring at the tree. Seconds later, she was talking with the tree. Her mother thought it was sweet, but things were about to take a drastic turn. When they got home, the girl was drawing something on the driveway with her chalk. She claimed that it was her past mother who she had seen in the tree. The parents were shocked, to say the least. Years later, the girl started recalling memories about how she was in an orphanage, and there was an orphan train taking a young boy away from her. She claimed that her was her friend, and he was being adopted by someone. She even remembered the station where the orphan train took off and where she was seated. Willa remembers her past name and her past parents' descriptions. It was too crazy to be true, yet it was. The young girl was on a mission to find out everything about her past life. Do you think she will be able to crack some more details in her case? The boy who was a woman. A young boy named Luke thinks that he was a woman in his past life. His parents never believed him when he would say things like that. Once, his mother was getting ready. He jumped up to her, pointed to her earrings, and said that he had a pair like that. His parents let it go at first, but that was about to change. They were out in the garden when Luke was playing with ladybugs. He said that he would name it Pam. The parents did not pay much attention until he spoke that name again while naming a painting of an owl. His mother asked him who Pam was, and he simply stated that it was him. The parents were shocked. His mother started asking more questions. He eventually told her after some time that he was in a fire when he jumped and passed away. His mother looked up online to find a hotel fire where a single black woman had jumped from the building but could not survive. She asked the young boy what color was Pam, and he said black. The details were all connecting with each other. Luke's father was still skeptical, so they printed a few pictures and tested Luke to see if he could recognize Pam from a bunch of pictures. They were left bewildered when Luke pointed at Pam correctly. They could not say a word. Do you think Luke was Pam in his past life? The girl from 12th century. Anna was only 9 years old when she started having vision that left her parents bewildered. She would describe how her past life was, what her civilization was like, and where she lived. She would tell her parents about the caves and the simple life she lived in a desert-like terrain. But nothing was as shocking as when she told them about how she passed away. It was a big disaster that jolted her old home and tore apart her ancient town. The parents were still confused, but then Anna started writing ancient symbols with English translation next to the writings. This gave them a bit of insight, and they started an online search. They found an oddly shaped island named Heracleon that looked like what Anna drew when she was younger. The island had gone underwater due to geological activity and was discovered in the year 2000. It was from the 12th century, and they couldn't believe their eyes. Do you believe her? The boy that was on a sinking ship. This boy stated one day that he was on a ship that sank. His parents were left shocked with their mouths wide open, but they thought it was his wild imagination. They were about to regret that. The young boy, Seamus, was less than 7 years old when he started saying how he was in a sinking boat. A lot of people who heard the story thought it was the Titanic, but the boy did not agree that the ship's details matched with the one in his memories. So, the parents started a hunt to track down the ship that Seamus believed he had been on. They eventually tracked one that sank in the year 1915, RMS Lusitania hit by a German submarine, matching the details of what Seamus was trying to tell them. The interesting thing was that he didn't remember passing away. He says that the ship tilted on its side and sank into the water when something hit the boat at the rear end. But he was rushing towards the wooden lifeboat when he passed away. What do you think about this story? Boy who thinks he is a Hollywood star. Ryan came up to his mother one day and stated that he thought he was somebody else. His mother was about to receive some shocking news. The 11-year-old boy would tell stories to his mother about how he lived in Hollywood. She did not believe him until the boy saw the picture and told her it was him. It was a black and white picture of an extra who had worked in just 2 scenes. Ryan claimed that he had moved to Paris, married 5 times, and had shifted to being an agent. There was an orange soda named True Aid that Martin loved but was discontinued years ago, yet Ryan remembered it clear as a day. All of these facts made by Ryan turned out to be true when the man's identity was searched by a child psychiatrist and confirmed by a Hollywood archivist. His name was Marty Martin, and he had changed his name, which is why these people could not find him first. Ryan had listed 55 things which were pretty specific, and they all turned out to be true for Martin. He had claimed Martin's age was 61, but his death certificate said 59. But later, it was found that the death certificate was incorrect. You can't make up things like this. It wasn't even on the internet. What do you think? The boy who was a screenwriter. A boy named Eric deeply troubled his parents when he insisted that his birthday was on a different date. things started getting out of hand when Eric pointed to his mother, Jennifer, and said that she was his daughter. His mother reminded him that she was his mom, but he denied it and stated that his mother's name was Co. The boy started having vivid dreams about getting crushed and would often wake up disgruntled in fear. The parents were worried. The boy had hinted about Hollywood, so they started asking him questions. He told them he was a screenwriter. They started listing movies, and his face lit up at the name of Gone with the Wind. The parents searched for the writer and were astonished to find that he had passed away because he was crushed by a tractor on his farm. If that wasn't surprising enough, his mother was named Co, the name that Eric kept repeating. Plus, the writer had a daughter named Jennifer, making the parents shocked to their cores. What do you think about this fascinating story? The boy who had fallen over a roof. A boy was only 5 years old when he started having hearing problems. While it was peculiar and emotionally strange for the parents, it was nothing compared to what they were about to witness soon. One day, the boy, Brennan, was out with his mother when he said how it would be dark soon. It sounded like an adult thing to say, so his mother straight up asked him if he was a grown-up before. The boy replied, very matter-of-factly, that he was before he fell off the roof and passed away. Remember the hearing thing? Brennan claims that his past life was working on the roof and fell on his right ear, which is why he has to use a hearing aid now. His doctors could not explain his severe hearing problem either. His mother searched for a few articles to show the boy, and he connected with one where all the details matched. What do you think? The boy who was a combat soldier. This boy was pretty small when he started having weird dreams about trenches and artillery shells. The parents thought they were all nightmares, but then something strange happened. On the 4th of July, fireworks lit up the sky and put Elijah into a state of fear. He was crying and shouting, and his parents did not know what to do. They took him to an antique shop to show him artifacts of World War II, and the boy started recognizing a few things. At one point, he told them to start calling him Peter when he heard that name on television. He was painting pictures of war, telling his parents about being underground and how helped children cross borders. They eventually found a Russian colonel named Peterovsky who had crashed after being shot down just like the boy had told them. But here is where it gets really interesting. The boy's father was going to Iraq when the boy told him that he wanted to talk to him alone. His parents thought it would be an emotional goodbye, but turned out to be a veteran talking to another soldier. Elijah gave him advice about laying low on the ground when the bombs start hitting them, and that saved his father's life in war. Pretty crazy, right? The woman who was the mother of 8. Jenny Cockle has the most unusual stories of reincarnation. She was a young girl when she started having these dreams of Mary Sutton. She passed away in a hospital after giving birth to her 8th child. Cockle would feel these emotions of guilt about leaving her children behind, which was pretty bizarre. She started drawing maps of Ireland, where she believed the children still lived, all from her memories and never having visited there once in her life. When Cockle visited Ireland, she started remembering things. She put up an ad to get the children to contact her, and they eventually did. Some of them believed her, while others were quite skeptical. The ones who believed claimed that Cockle knew things that only they could understand. They were living separately, and they believed that it could be their mother's way of reuniting them. Do you believe that too? The Old Woman's Story. The East has a lot of reincarnation stories, and this one is from India. This woman, Savita, was only 3 years old when she was bathing in her bathroom. Her mother was with the child when Saviti Sharma started saying how it wasn't her bathroom, it was in Calcutta. She had a 3-story house, and her siblings lived in Lahore. She was the only one left behind with her brother and her sister-in-law, who used to make her work around the house. This was all coming from a 3-year-old child. Years later, another strange thing happened. She was out watching a screening of the Titanic in Houston when 2 white women and a 10-year-old sat beside her. The 10-year-old called her by her childhood nickname and gave her a teddy bear. Savita hadn't heard that name in over 70 years. What do you think about all of this? the woman who lived in the 1860s. This woman was a victim of repetitive flashbacks of a life she did not know she had lived before. Maureen visited a psychiatrist, and it was only then that her memories started forming a shape. She believed that she was Becky from 1860, and her husband was a wartime spy. But here is where it got interesting. Maureen saw a person walk by and claimed to know him. She somehow convinced him to see the same hypnotherapist and found that he also had a past life and was Becky's lover. Later research by the doctor showed that there was a group of 50 people who all lived with each other in the American Civil War. So Maureen's case might have been unusual, but not untrue. What do you think? The boy who went to Nepal.
Everywhere he goes, people approach him for blessings, as they would the Pope.
Deshung Rinpoche III used to tell his followers that he would be reborn in Seattle. A couple of years later, his saying came true when a mother started having visions during her pregnancy. After the pregnancy, Sonam Wangdu was born. At the age of 2 years, the kid realized his identity with the help of his mother's visions. The boy then started calling himself Trulkula, meaning reincarnation. He was welcomed in Nepal and is now living among monks to relive the teachings of his past life. What do you think about this case? Boy who talks to his past life sister. This boy had an imaginary friend named Sarah. At least, that's what the parents thought. Aidan used to talk with his sister all the time. One day, his mother asked him what he was talking about with Sarah. He stated that his parents were mean to both the siblings, which is why they both passed away. The parents were horrified. The 3-year-old simply stated that he was the one who came back, but his sister could not, and that was fine. Aidan would get quite emotional if his mother told him that it was all inside his head. Do you think it is all real? Girl who was a singer. Olivia was 5 years old when she started showing signs of distress. She would cry out when her mother was leaving, clearly showing that she had issues with abandonment. Her parents brought a guitar one day and she started singing like she was a natural. When her mother inquired about her singing, she said that she was singer in her past life. Olivia started telling her parents about how she was living with Indians and how her sister passed away in her arms. This is why she had abandonment issues that were flowing away in her present life. Olivia would also never let her mother touch her chin. Her mother later found that the Indian tribe in which Olivia claimed she lived had tattoos on their chins to represent their tribes. Pretty crazy, right? That's all from our side. We hope that you liked the video. Let us know in the comments which case struck you as the most realistic. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up icon and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.